Hey guys, we're back for another episode of Two Person Echo Chamber. I'm Mitch.
And I'm John. How are you, Mitch?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I had a good Easter.
Hmm.
I had
You all right
I had
there?
a lot of food. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
You had ham?
I had ham.
Yeah. So the reason why I knew you had ham is because this is our third time trying this.
Which is really a worst since we've been recording these podcasts.
This is a
It's
worst.
usually been like we'll do it one take and we'll go, yeah, that's pretty good.
It's usually one take, but something's been happening. And these last two takes, you guys are never going to hear it, but Mitch has been entirely inappropriate. Entirely inappropriate.
Not like purposefully, but just like it's just kind of happening.
It's inappropriate.
It was inappropriate.
Insubordinate.
And this is why you get,
churlish.
churlish. That word? You know what it is? I don't think I know exactly what it means, but I think I know what it means.
Well, okay. Churlish. Let's look it up. Churlish. Rude in a mean-spirited and surly way. It's the word the surly is important.
The same way.
Surly is
surly
important.
And churlish are like the same word to me. Like I feel
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Yes, surly is going to be like rude or childish or rude or mean in a churlish way. I'm just going to flip the whole.
In a churlish way.
No, churlish.
You ever find when you
I learned that word from Key and
dictionary,
Peele.
when you read like a dictionary and you're like looking up what things mean, and then you're like, I feel like it's just full of other words that I have to look up in a dictionary. It's like a fucking Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, they're like it's a specific dictionary that's like more like sold in letters, and it's like to find out what this word means you need to buy our edition that has our letter D in it, and you can go get the D and find out what that one is, and then it leads you to like just buying the whole thing.
Yeah.
God, I don't know what's up with us today.
We're killing it.
No, I'm off, man. I'm off. How are you guys though? What's going on? Everyone answer out loud all at once, and I'll count to 3, and then after the person who's in the same room with you looks at you like you're crazy, you can just tell them that I told you to. 1, 2, 3. I'm great.
Lackadaisical.
That's a good word.
It's my favorite word.
Really?
That and onomatopoeia.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I think my favorite word is John. This is like the most selfish answer ever. Like that's like the most narcissistic answer ever. It's like, what's your favorite word? Is like, well, I like when people say my name.
I think it gives me quite nice joy.
Oh my God.
What does Marie Kondo say? If it doesn't bring you joy, don't keep it in your life.
That's why I changed my name.
that. So you picked John?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not going to tell you what it was before, but it was pretty wild.
I grew up apparently. I apparently grew up not wanting to be called my name.
What'd you want to be called?
I think like Jack.
That would make sense for me to be one called Jack.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I think I grew up not knowing any other Mitches.
Maybe did you like Jack Sparrow?
I mean, I did, but that was like way after I have accepted my name now.
I can't remember how old that movie is, but also
the first one was like 2003.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you were 9,
something like that.
Your birthday's coming up.
My birthday is coming up.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like birthdays, especially the last 2, being that
Mm-hmm.
they're in the midst of a global pandemic.
Mm.
I feel a little less, not necessarily special. It's just, I don't know. At what
Yeah.
point do we stop caring about birthdays, right?
When you die.
Well, yeah, I just feel like, the
That
days
that'll
of
be
like,
that'll be at least one time where it's like, well, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't get a cake.
that's always my thought. I'm not a big birthday cake person.
I'm not a regular birthday cake person, but I am a my mom's birthday cake person.
What is your mom's birthday cake?
Um, it's birthday cake, but she does it, so I love it.
Like, but what type of cake is it?
Cake, man. It's what it's always different. It's like, what do you want me to make? And then I'll be like, well, I'm feeling like whatever, whatever. And then she just does it, and it's amazing.
I feel like you're not understanding the question.
I understand it. I'm just saying it can be different each time. She's skilled, man.
This is not no don't this is in no way me knocking your mother's ability to
What are
make a
you
good
saying
birthday
about
cake.
her right now?
I would never say anything horrible about Lori Putz, and you know that.
Okay.
Don't even don't even insinuate that.
What's going on? What are you doing? Look, man, if I want a different flavor from like last year, she'll be like, "Yeah, I could do that." If my nephew's birthday was just a couple days ago, and she made them different flavored cupcakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like she frosted it and shaped them in like the form of a snake because they really like snakes, which I hope that doesn't stick. I hope that doesn't stick that they like snake. They like all animals. Like they're big on like the animal kingdom. You know what I mean?
Sure, but they like snakes.
Okay, now you're talking shit about my nephews. Yeah, they like snakes. I'm sure if they saw
Have they
if they
met one?
like they've seen it in a zoo. I'm sure if like they touched a snake, they would they'd be like, no. Like if I'm sure if they were like if there was like a snake around like in a free space, they'd run away, right? But like on the TV, or like in the zoo, it's awesome. So, anyways, Mitch, she made cupcakes and frosted it and like shaped them in the form of like this cool like snake and like use like Skittles and stuff to like get the eyes and like the specific pattern of the snake that they like. She could do anything.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
You need to back off my family, man. I love you, but they come first.
I, I'm touched. I would hope so. I would hope they come first.
Yeah, man.
You know,
So,
you know who else has a birthday
hmm,
coming up?
hmm.
Our future guest in this episode.
Oh, really?
He does. His birthday is the day before mine. We discovered this
It's cute.
right when we started working together in a
Hmm.
show. I don't know how it
How old
came
is
up.
he? Do you know how old he is?
He's a year younger than me.
Hmm. How old are you, Mitch?
Damn it. I will be 27 this
Minus
Saturday.
one.
Minus one. Okay, so he'll be 20. I think he'll be turning 27. He'll be turning 26. Sorry, when I turn 27.
Yeah, you really okay?
Math
He
was not my strong
for all the
suit.
listeners, he counted with his hands.
I was a musician. I had to count to 4. Okay, sometimes twice.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes twice. Yeah, you're right. What do you any information that these guys need to know? These people need to know about Alex Levy, our guest and future birthday boy, Alex Levy.
Alex Levy is actor extraordinaire. He was my roommate when we were living together in the city.
Mm.
We went to college together, but we really didn't become buds until we were both out of school and we started working together. We did American Idiot locally together. He played the role of Johnny and I played the role of Saint Jimmy, which for those of you who are unfamiliar with that show, Saint Jimmy is the alter ego, the
St. Jimmy's.
drug induced alter ego of Johnny.
St. Jimmy's coming down across the alleyway. That's such a good album, man.
Hells yeah. That's the only like redeeming quality about American Idiot, the musical, is that the music is so great.
Is that the music is from American Idiot,
Yes.
the album? Yeah.
And they just had like Tom Kitt like come in and make it a musical style with
Yeah.
like vocals and different
Yeah.
arrangements to make it a little less punk rocky, even though that's still the gist of the whole thing.
I'd go and see the show anytime though, if I
Oh,
knew that the
exactly.
performers were good, because I just view it as like a rock concert. Well,
It's
not
like
like a rock
yeah,
concert, but an awesome concert where
yeah,
I sit down and have like a $20 glass of wine.
100%, 100%. But you know, Alex is this unbelievable spirit soul
Mm-hmm.
who, as I mentioned before, we had the privilege of living together,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, being able to pick each other's brains about just different things on life. You know,
Yeah.
you ever like have those people where like maybe they're not like your best friend of like forever, but like they're a person that every time you get together with them, you're like, I can't think of an unpleasant evening with that person.
Yeah, right. And
That is
also
Alex Levy with me.
he's someone who doesn't really shy away from any part of a conversation, which is
No.
I love that in people, where each time you have with them can be about like there is no restriction on, well, this is my friend that I talk to about sports, this is my friend that I talk to about,
Right.
yeah,
Right. Right.
while wide berth
Mm-hmm.
of knowledge, and a wide, yeah, and
Which
very
really
game.
made him such a great guinea pig for us because
Mm-hmm.
for our listeners, obviously we're releasing this and I think this is our 5th episode.
Mm-hmm.
But when we recorded this interview, he was our very first interview
Yeah, he was our
for us
first
as a
interview.
podcast. So he was
Eventually
great.
we'll release all of us recording, trying to figure out what this is. Some good stuff, some really, really bad stuff. But the interview section, especially with Alex, definitely released the like it released what we wanted it to be. It was like there was like this like creative spark for sure
Mm-hmm.
with Alex, and which with what topics we wanted to cover, and him definitely just being very, very interested in being a part of any conversation, even ones that are more difficult, because I will say that there's a couple of them that there's a couple of moments in this one we talk about anxiety, talk about depression, that not every single person would be as interested in talking about or airing out,
Mm-hmm.
um, those parts of their lives as Alex would. And that's kind of cool.
He's so philosophical in the sense of like you said, we talk about anxiety and everything, and how
Mm,
he was talking about how he like takes a day for himself
mm.
every week. Like he makes it like a part of his routine to be
I
like,
wish, yeah,
I need a day to do all these things that only make me happy.
yeah. You know how that sounded like such a cool idea, and at the same time, I knew that I would never do it, which is a real bummer. Like kind of knowing yourself like that, but just because I knew that I'll never do it, now I feel like if I actually do commit to it, I'll do it, because I would love that, but also the way that I work, you know, I don't always feel I've earned that, that
Mm-hmm.
day, right? But that doesn't mean you don't need it. That honestly might mean that you need it even more, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you had a bad week of work or something, maybe you really do need a day so that next week of whatever you can be maybe more on top of your game.
Right. Like it's like he gave himself like a weekend,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to be like, hey, this is my weekend. This is what I need to do to be
Mm-hmm.
able to prepare myself for what lies ahead.
Yeah.
And
Spa
let me
day.
tell you that I would say one of the biggest things I saw him do was he did Next to Normal up
Mm,
in,
it's a great show.
I forgot the name of where it was. We talk about it, but
In
he
Chicago.
in Chicago land area, he played the part of Henry,
Hmm.
and
He played the cute part.
he did he, and you know what was so great though is just like he's so dedicated to his craft because
Hmm.
like he's doing a musical with complex music,
Hmm.
and I think he'll be the first person to tell you he's like singing is not his first instrument.
Hmm.
Acting is his first instrument, and he sounded so good. Like I was
Good.
like coming to him from like a musician perspective, I was like, you sounded so tight. And he's just a phenomenal soul, phenomenal performer, a really good person.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
really hope you guys enjoy
Me
this
too.
interview.
Yeah. Absolutely. Anything else, Mitch? Anything else? What are you doing for your birthday?
What am I doing for my birthday? I believe you and me are getting together.
Yeah, we're gonna do those cigars finally.
Thank God.
Yeah.
The cigars that we set that if you listened to us last week where I would have liked to have, gotten them
Hmm.
that night, but it just didn't happen. And
Didn't
now we're
happen.
finally having them, which means it's going to be even better.
It's gonna be even better. Yeah, we're gonna do those cigars for sure. I do have a really excellent idea for a gift for you. I hope it works out.
I hope it works out. Our
And
listeners should
so
stay
I'm gonna
tuned
I'm
to see
actually
if it does.
I'm gonna give you the gift right now. It's an opportunity. Now, we've been called this, but we are not a pyramid scheme. We are a funnel. No, I have a good idea for you for your birthday, and I hope it works out. I'm getting some help. Because I could do it's like something that I could order or I could potentially do myself. And if I order it, I worry about the time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna try and do it with our hands. It means more that way, right?
Always.
Yeah, babe. Always.
All right, guys. So here's the interview with Alex. Welcome. Our very first guest is
Hey, welcome,
here
guys.
on the Two Person Echo Chamber podcast, and it's one of my dear friends, Alex Levy. So, Alex, thank you so much for
Yay!
coming on today.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you. I'm so happy to be here.
We're
So,
very happy to have you.
yes, we're very happy to have somebody to talk to that's not each other.
As you can tell by the
I'm
name.
very happy. Oh yeah, no, definitely. I want to echo that. I'm very happy to be talking to someone. Period.
Right.
So that's really cool because I haven't talked to anybody in like months. So
Do you live alone?
no, I mean that's not, I guess it's technically
Oh, then
not
it's
true. I
even
don't live
worse.
alone. I have my
Wait, that's
roommates,
even
but-
worse. Wait. It's during the quarantine. There's no one to go talk to. You don't live alone, but you still haven't talked to anybody. It's even worse. You need friends.
Right, right.
It's a real contentious
I've just been
relationship.
sitting. Yeah, it's a real. Yeah, I've just been sitting here like hoping that I'm not annoying anybody or upsetting anybody, but at the same time, like knowing my place as the roommate.
Sure. Do you
like
often,
knowing my place as an outsider.
do you often
What's that?
do you often find yourself thinking about all the things that you've done wrong and there's actually nothing that like happened during that situation? It's like you step on the floor and like the wood creaks and you're like, they must hate me. Is that like a type of person that you are, that it's just like anything that could piss someone
Oh
off
yeah,
I'm not gonna do?
yeah. Well, I'm learning. I'm starting to unlearn that, but definitely like. So I've grown up with anxiety
Right.
disorder. So that manifests in me wanting to be a people pleaser. That's certainly like one of the ways that it manifests. So so yeah, like I'll have irrational thoughts all day that like people hate me or are mad at me or
Right.
want to destroy me, but it's not fucking true because my brain's a liar.
Right. So there's
Yeah.
this word called like transference, and it's about I don't know if you know, you probably know. I don't know. Who knows? But for audience members, all three that are listening, because I'm going to listen to it, and I know Mitch is, and I'm hoping that we have our third. Alex, please listen to this. For the
I
audience.
think I can make time in my schedule to listen to
Okay.
it.
Well,
My schedule of just meaningless existence this year.
Well, you're not talking to your roommate, so there's nothing else to do. But no,
right. That's what I'm saying.
yeah. Transference is like you're actively clinging to these like set parts of your life, like stuff from childhood that like in childhood it kind of served you to have these like anxious feelings sometimes, but in adulthood it doesn't serve you anymore. Do you think that there's like some part of you that has that, where there is that that anxiety maybe was well placed in your childhood, or is this something that you think is nature? I mean, I guess in terms of the nature nurture conversation.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. Anxiety runs through my family, so I definitely think it's partially nature, but I'm sure uh, there were certain events that maybe I haven't uncovered yet that have escalated it. But
Well, and in terms of nurture, right? Anxiety begets anxiety, right? Like it's hard to be relaxed around someone who's anxious sometimes, right?
right.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that like as a kid, um, turning those thoughts outward and saying like, okay, well, what? Or I mean, I guess that's turning the thoughts inward, but saying like, okay, what am I doing to upset other people? Was not conducive, but it like I've noticed that it carried me for a long time. Like I was successfully, well, it depends on what your definition of successful is, but was able to like live my life by that rule of constantly being self-critical.
Right.
But then I realized when uh, well, in my 20s, I'm in my 20s now. So in my 20s, I realized that I have autonomy over like who I am. I have autonomy. I don't have autonomy over how I'm perceived, but I have autonomy over who stays in my life.
Right.
So I kind of like am learning right now to take like the reins of my brain
Yeah.
and say time to unlearn.
Yeah. And I mean, in terms of, you think a lot of it, you were saying you think a lot of it is also, you know, your family has a lot of anxiety, runs in the family. So in terms of you having autonomy over who you give your time to, right? And knowing that that's a part of you, then having that ability to say, well, I am going to do work to, you know, lower my anxiety, right? And to lower its effect on my relationships. But since it's all still a part of me, I don't want to say that I can be completely perfect all the time. You know, you are who you are, and anxiety has served you in a lot of ways in your life. And maybe, you know, in some ways you don't want to get rid of all of it, right? Because you said it has served you.
Yeah, I mean it's weird. It's weird to say that out loud that it has served me, but the truth of it is that I I mean, I have a good work ethic and it's because I'm anxious, you know? Like
Right.
I'm not satisfied with what I make until like it's been hammered into the ground. And sometimes that's a blessing and sometimes that's a curse. Like sometimes that makes things worse. So it has benefited me a lot, but it's it needs to be I don't know. It needs to be moderated, I guess. It needs to be properly moderated because it's
Absolutely.
overtaken my life a lot too.
I love that. I love that way of saying that though, because I've actually felt the same way. And one time I was doing this horrible short film surrounded by, some really great people who were learning just like I was, and I said something along the lines of, in certain instances, because I have a low level, but like a little bit of depression, and I say it's served me in a lot of ways, like the deep down thoughts that like are kind of like easy for me to get to sometimes, um, with the right amount of imagination without like having to like stay in it. Like I'm very aware of it, I recognize it. It's familiar to me. And some people took that the way that I said that as, you shouldn't be so thankful for depression, it's depression's not a good thing. I'm like, well, mine, sometimes mine is like, I kind of, I wouldn't be where I'm at without it. Like that said, when I was first coming to terms with it, right, not so great, at least in the immediate.
Yeah, definitely. It's getting to know yourself, right? It's like I don't know. It's turning that the love and care, or for some people like analysis and criticism of other people, and turning it into ourselves
Yes.
in a constructive way.
I really
Like for me, depression. Yeah, like for me, depression. I mean, I am a depressed individual, and sometimes like I have self-care Mondays where I'll go on my walk, and I'll take a really lovely like rest and relaxation and relief Epsom salt bath. It's super, and I'll write. Oh, it's great. But sometimes that doesn't get the job done, and
Right.
sometimes I have to like let whatever depressive spell that I'm enduring, whatever like relentless thought that I'm enduring, just let it take its course, with the notion that it is going to be over at some point,
Right.
and I will get to move on with my day and with my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess that's I mean, to me, like for me, I think that's how depression can be a comfort, is just knowing that if all else fails, this will not last.
Yeah, you do get used to
So,
the recognition of temporary frustrations and setbacks and depression. Like it does transfer over to the other parts of your life. Like, well, if if this lowest horrible spot that I was in for no reason except for my depression is passing, then like maybe this will pass too, right? Like it kind of helps, right?
yeah,
But that's so great.
in a weird way.
Yeah, right. We're so set for
Yeah.
life by being like so beset by certain things in our life. It just helps eventually. What you were talking about self-care. What other stuff do you do for self-care besides like long walk? You said the bath, Epsom salt bath, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Writing.
And then I writing. Yeah, I've been getting really into playwriting throughout quarantine, so that's kind of become
Spectacular.
a haven for me. Drawing, draw a lot of cartoons. And
Are you any good, or is it for you?
it's for me. It's like a hodgepodge of things, of like styles. It's like a hodgepodge of styles from all different TV shows, of which I had no hand in creating whatsoever. So I'm a plagiarizing artistry fool.
I used to be really good at drawing the Duff Man from The Simpsons, and that's all I could do. And I would just like put my initials on it. I'm like, look,
Right.
I made the Duff Man. That was about as far as it got for me. I was so bad at everything else. The four fingers really helps me. You know what I mean? You asked me to do all five. I'm
no doubt.
The thumbs.
My
man.
hands look like not hands, but like my cartoon hands look like a big bushel of sausage links. Just really unfortunate. I try my best not to draw people with hands.
I am one of the best things about this quarantine is that sausages have now been sold in bushels.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I never thought I'd see the day, but like, look, here we are.
Yeah. You know,
So
there's a
have you
lot of
guys
things.
gotten your bushels or?
I have mine, but you know, I don't have the grill like ability right now, especially with the cold outside. So I'm just gonna like toss them in the freezer until, you know, I'm okay with going outside at this moment, because I'm not.
Sure.
No.
You don't want half baked sausages.
Well, who does want baked
What-
sausages? I don't want to meet that person.
Look, I don't want to be that person. Mitch, what about you?
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna do I was gonna do like a whole introduction thing, and you just went right into it.
You popped, just to be clear, you popped into two of my like really like exciting topics that I wanted to bring up right away, and it just made me really happy.
No,
But we should take a quick break, because I do want to actually like get to know about Alex, the human being, like, and his acting and now writing, and what type of stuff do you write? Besides, I mean, what type of plays?
Yeah, so I written two, and they both delve into. I mean, it's interesting that we were talking about it, because they both delve into mental health. Because I discovered that like what I want to write are plays where people who don't typically have the opportunity cultivated for themselves to look inwardly, an opportunity to watch someone or some scenario in which someone properly has to look inwardly, like is properly faced with that task. And then hopefully, you know, whoever sees that play, if it ever gets produced, will go home and try to do better. Now, whether that's do better for their own mental health or do better in society in terms of unlearning racist behavior or homophobic behavior. I don't know. I want people to have a chance to go to the theater. I want people to go to the theater and have a chance to do better afterward.
Yeah, that's one of the highest, the biggest gifts of theater, right? The ability to be able to change people's opinions, or at least reflect on themselves because of it, right?
Well, I don't know. I really want, and quarantine kind of helped me see this. I really want people to be the best version of themselves. So if I can tell a story in which someone is faced with an opportunity to do that, to actually do that,
right,
then people may follow suit. And I may follow suit. Maybe I'll be like an awesome person after it gets produced. I don't fucking know.
Alex, I already think you're an awesome person. And let me tell you why, and let me tell our listeners why Alex is an awesome person. So I met Alex, I think it's a two-part, right? Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, we knew each other at ISU because we were both at Illinois State University together. But I feel like you and me didn't really connect until that audition for American Idiot.
Yeah, and then we were off to the races. Yeah, we did a production of American Idiot in 2015.
Was this at ISU?
No, this was
no, this was in the suburbs.
Yeah, this was just a shit.
What's that?
Yeah, this was just Chicagoland community theater production. But
but in that respect, it was like, oh, go ahead.
No, go. Yeah, you're
no, I just was gonna say it was like super like visceral and scrappy in true Chicago fashion. Like it was a very gritty production of American Idiot.
I feel like everybody that I still talk to associated with that production has been like, we made great friends during that process, and I think all of us really enjoyed doing that show. But I think all of us would also go like this, it was what it was. It was like a nice, fun community theater production. of a show that has a really bad book.
Yeah, terrible book. Terrible book, debatable score, but honestly, I think like it's like you said in our they released a DVD of it, and they had like bonus footage from the summer, and they interviewed Mitch, who at the time his hair was all spiked up, and he had painted fingernails, and he had like really intense eyeliner on, and like
it was spiked up, but it started back here, right? Right back here.
Yes,
it was like
yes,
Yeah.
it did. The hairline was apparent at that point. Yes.
Right. I loved because I saw you've done American Idiot a couple times.
Yes.
And I think I saw the one that you weren't in, Alex, and he looked great from the stage with his spiked hair, but then when I went and said hi to him afterwards, it was like, great job. I was like, oh no. The theater is really good at covering things.
Oh goodness.
But yeah.
No, he was great. But in the behind the scenes footage, they said, "Hey Mitch, you want to say anything to anybody who might be watching at home?" And Mitch is like, "Yeah, full eyeliner, Metallica shirt, denim vest, all types of cool shit." And Mitch is just like, "Yeah, we made a lot of good friends and had a good summer, and that's kind of how I feel about it. I think I have to agree with past Mitch.
I like to think
just a good memory. You know what I mean? Just a good memory.
Yeah, I like to think I have a finger on the pulse of things. Like I feel like I've noticed that past shows, if I've ever done them, like somebody goes, "Oh, what was that like?" Like I have like perfect recall of exactly like my exact emotion about it. Like if it was like I fucking hated it, or if it was, yeah, it was fun. It was something I did for 3 months, and it's still like
you're an emotion.
Yeah.
What's that?
No, it's just
go ahead.
It's just something that like I immediately go right to it. Like if you bring up the production, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that I felt very angry about it, or I felt very passive about it, or I was like, I don't even remember half doing it sometimes.
Isn't that weird that like theater artists, like what we do, we put on these shows, but each show is a significant landmark in our life in some way or another. Like either significantly good or significantly bad, but always leaves a lasting impression or a scar, or
Well, it's not even like the most successful show isn't always the one that leaves like the biggest mark on your memory. There's been some shows that I've done that are so successful that I don't talk to any of the people after. I didn't really enjoy my time there. Yeah, I'd be hard pressed to say like a show that I didn't actually enjoy doing, but there are definitely some that for me it could have been the worst show in the world, but it still is really a wonderful memory of these people that I still talk to, or the relationship at least lasted much longer than it would have. But you've had success at a lot of levels in Chicago, though. And do you think that the ones that have been the most successful? I know you did Next to Normal, right? And but you also did this. What was the theater that you did Next to Normal with?
Oh, it was Writers Theater.
The Writers Theater. Okay. Yeah. And but you also did a show that the American Idiot one with Mitch, and really the memories are like the people were greater. Do you think that the experiences were more or less enjoyable for different reasons, or?
You mean like between the two?
Yeah, I mean, well, we don't have to directly.
Or
Since you're talking to Mitch, you don't have to directly say which one you enjoyed better or worse, because I understand how awkward of a situation puts you in. But like Next to Normal was very successful still, as I understand. Did that like?
Yeah, I mean,
feel like did that feel like a special experience for multiple reasons? It's also a spectacular show.
It is a spectacular show. That's the T. It felt really special for a lot of reasons. I mean, it was probably my first really, really big like equity show in Chicago.
Equity is the union for theater actors for people who are
yeah,
not. Yes.
yeah. So that was really awesome as like a non-equity actor to get into this equity show and work with so many talented, incredible people. And the show was very well received. I mean, a lot of people came to see it, and that was really awesome. And American Idiot was super awesome because I don't know. There's something that every actor goes through, and I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just like a little dose of reality where it becomes your career.
Mm-hmm.
Like it stops being something that you really enjoy doing, and it becomes the thing that you have to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And American Idiot was before it became a career for me. So I think there's like a little bit of like doughy-eyed wonderment about that summer and about like, you know, like getting together with your band of friends and we you know, we got into that theater and man, we made some shit, bro, you know? And
we changed some lives, man.
Yeah, the renegades who could, you know?
Were we paid to do it? No.
Right. Right.
Because we're rebels.
Because we're rebels and we're starting a revolution. But Next to Normal, like I thought I love Next to Normal. I think Next to Normal that's one of the best times of my life.
Yeah.
And it was because of the material. It was because we're doing a show that can impact so many people in like a palpable way. In which something like American Idiot is not designed to do, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was really rich and rewarding. All the actors, the director, the stage management team, the music director, the assistant director, everybody was super great and super wanting to dig deeper and find truths. And that was really awesome. And I think that theater is, I mean, I've seen the best shows, some of the best shows of my life at that theater.
Yeah.
So it was cool. Both were cool and equally valid.
Yeah. What other experiences have you had in the theater between them then and here? What's the Chicago theater's landscape look like right now as an actor? And what has it been for you?
Well, now there's not much going on because of COVID.
What? Because of what?
Because of COVID.
Oh, I haven't heard of that. Oh, is that something that's going on?
Yes, it's only the deadliest thing to hit the United States since I don't know, ever.
I'll Google it later. Don't worry about it. Go on.
Okay. So anyway, there hasn't been much going on now in the theater scene, but I mean the Chicago theater scene I've noticed since I've been here, and I've been here for about three or 4 years now, there's been a lot of emphasis on new work, which I think is really cool because I don't know. I don't need to hear the sentiments of a white playwright from 70 years ago. Mm-hmm. I was taught throughout my schooling, my American theater education, that the American theater is comprised of white playwrights from 70 years ago. And to find out that that's not only not true, but it's I mean, some of those plays are like archaic. Like those plays are so incredibly flawed, and they laid the foundation for American theater now, but Chicago has always been a hotbed of change and progression. That's what the landscape's like. It's really, it's I don't know, like as a lowly actor, I'm learning a lot about like my capacity as an artist, and also like our capacity to help each other and tell each other stories.
I'm just gonna hop in, and so building off the fact of what you love so much about the Chicago scene right now, for the listeners who don't know, and John, who actually has just met Alex today,
It's going great. I like you.
I am a huge.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've talked about it before. I saw that Next to Normal production. I've seen Alex perform at school and in other various places. I find him extraordinarily talented. I'm a massive fan of him, and I know that you were in New York and you did have a callback for a little show called Dear Evan Hansen. So,
well, that's a good one.
but I remember, and obviously, Alex, you and me have known each other for a long time. Obviously, we've had this conversation, but just to reiterate, like, I remember you had always said, like, Chicago was really always more your scene than New York. And I mean, what's like another reason for like that?
Well, I think for me, one of the reasons is just the geography of it. New York is, I always say, like, 'cause New York feels like Chicago with maybe the air sucked out a little bit. Like there's just a little bit less room to breathe in New York.
We like it that way.
So yeah. So I definitely like the spatial awareness in Chicago.
Yeah. I feel that.
But
I feel that. I'm in Chicago right now, the suburbs of Chicago right now, and I'm gearing up to move back to New York pretty soon. And I don't know how well I'm actually going to take that like intimacy, especially right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go on though. What else about the differences between Chicago? I mean, like, what about the art? The theater, the art,
I went to that callback, but I haven't been to New York outside of that. So I don't know much about it. My understanding of Broadway is that it does tend to lean toward the commercial, whereas Chicago theater tends to lead toward the artistic. Like I don't know how to say this.
No, there's
a heavier emphasis. There's a heavier emphasis in Chicago on like message, and themes, and just the production itself, as opposed to making a boatload of money.
Yeah,
and that's not to say that Broadway doesn't have. Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, please finish your thought.
No, I mean that's not to say that Broadway doesn't have incredible think pieces, but I mean I feel like it is a commercial hotbed,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was gonna say the cool thing about New York is that there's kind of room for both. The really frustrating thing about New York is that it's way harder to find, just because the marketing is different, and because there are these things that are so heavily marketed that the random theater goer, the more passive theater goer will go to the big thing, because there's just, it's hard to even find out about the things that are more like the Chicago theater scene, that are more think pieces and more artistic and more about the human condition. That I think that Chicago, having the absence of the commercialism, is really a benefit to the artistry, where I think in New York, the artistry is there, but because of the commercialistic aspects of it, it's way harder to find, But I would absolutely.
Yeah.
I was wondering, in terms of Chicago specifically, and your talk about inclusion and equity in the theater world, do you find it is sincere? Because in New York, especially in the commercial aspects of it, it is. But by the way, your hair is amazing. How long has it been since you cut? How long has it been since you cut it? Is this like a quarantine thing, and you're just like, you grow like an actual like tree, like just grow, or
Oh no.
no? Is this your hairstyle?
No, yeah, I mean, I haven't cut it, like really dramatically cut it since September 21st, 2016.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I have like mermaid hair now. Like it goes below my titties.
It's beautiful. It really is beautiful.
It's I always loved the story that Alex always said, because like I feel like, what was it, September 2016, like at this point we have done American Idiot, like we're friends, and we see each other, and I do remember having like visible memories going, like every single time I would see him, his hair would just keep getting bigger, and I would just be like, never change it though, it looks so great, it's so
It's how
iconic.
you know that time has passed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, duh.
I haven't seen you for 3 inches.
But wasn't it? Alex, correct me if I'm wrong here. I vaguely remember being like, "Do you want like your hair to be this long?" And I vaguely remember you being like, "Well, the show I'm doing right now, they kind of want me to keep it."
Yeah.
That is the thing about being an actor, right? You do have to commit to a look sometimes that isn't you.
I mean, and it's not that it's not me. I'm just like, I'm evolving and my hair isn't really. That's kind of where I'm at in my brain, is that like if I weren't an actor, this would probably be gone and I would undergo significant change. But like when you're an actor, you have to keep an image. Like this is what's on my headshot, so it's gonna stay. You know what I mean?
And it's really, I was more saying like the question, like if a role was asking you to like shave your head, like, is that something that you could freely give up with all this hair? Yeah, because I mean, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of, that's a lot.
Yeah,
of
I mean, if it's
like, well, I can always grow back. Like, whew.
if I'll say this, if it's a big enough opportunity, then absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like a case by case basis.
You would weigh the decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally. Because this is part of me now. Like this is part of my image. People in Chicago in Chicago in Chicago know me as having this, so it kind of works out in that way.
Right. Awesome. So we were talking about self-care actually a little bit earlier, and I wanted to ask you, because I've been kind of weighing this decision, this opinion on what is actually like good for me and what's not good for me in certain aspects. And I was reading about the difference between like self-care and like the lack of self-evaluation, where there are things in your life that you can call self-care, but really it's you kind of pushing away something that might take more work in the immediate and make you feel better immediately, but like in the long term, it might not actually be a useful thing to do. And since you have a weekly self-care day that you really like do your best to take care of yourself, like what do you find is, when you are taking those days, the realization, does that help you realize some things that might be hard work? Does that help you just take the break from all the things that you have to do and then reset yourself? Does it help you realize some flaws within yourself? What is the ultimate goal of that Monday you said?
Yeah, well, Mondays are the worst, right?
Sure.
So that's why I picked that day.
most equity theaters do not perform on Monday, so that is the actor's day. Just so we're all aware. Yes.
That's
a dark
true,
day
yeah.
in more than one regard.
Because who the hell is going to go to theater on a Monday?
Right. Not me.
Fuck
no. Fuck no. But I think like that it provides me a great opportunity to just like work my brain out Like it's a mental workout that day. Like I'm gonna go to the spa, which is take my bath, and I'm going to go on a walk, and I'm gonna give it some air. I'm gonna water it. Just it's like on the good days, it reminds me of why I wake up in the morning, and on bad days, it's totally a safety blanket. And I don't think of it as something that deters me from the greater problem. I certainly think of drugs and alcohol that way for me, just the way that it's only going to mask how I feel for a certain amount of time. Whereas the self-care day, it gives me like a really safe space to just, I don't know, just let myself be,
Yeah, but you were saying
something that we don't get to do.
Yeah, and you were saying that it's when your brain does work some things out. So it's not entirely like just like a day off. You know what I mean? It's a day.
No, it's not. It's important.
Yeah. It's more than it may be a physical day off, right? But emotionally, mentally, it's a day of reflection on your life, about the people's lives that surround you. How hard is it to be honest on some of those days? Because for me, sometimes like it seems that like truth and reality, when they are like really difficult conversations, it's hard to like maintain the truthfulness with myself sometimes when it is like a painful truth. Do you find those painful truths on those days? Do you reflect on them?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that it's, I don't know, like doing that internal work is not always pretty, and sometimes you have to confront like mistakes that you've made, or um just shifts in your thought patterns. I mean, like I am, for example, not the person that I was growing up, because the person that I was growing up was, I don't know, a boy in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, like a heavily sheltered, this is how everything needs to be, this is how you need to handle people kind of mentality. And it really took a lot of unlearning. And Mondays are great, but other Mondays I'm reminded of that.
Yeah.
And reminded that like I have come a long way in terms of being who I am, and caring about myself and an ability to care about others, which is like, to me, the really awesome mental health way of saying not being an asshole. Like, so,
Yeah.
and that's how it manifests for me. Like, for me, not working on myself caused me to be an asshole to others. You know what I'm saying? So for some people, like, they'll get very inward and they'll get sullen and they won't realize their true potential. For me, it's I was very outward and was a prick and didn't realize my true potential. You know?
Yeah.
So,
well, like,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, please finish your thought.
Oh no, I'm done, pretty much.
Okay. I was just gonna say, like the actor's job is, to be very aware of the things that make you feel certain ways, so that when it is time for you to feel a certain way, right? Like, through the Meisner technique, at least you know where to put your imagination. Uh-oh. I just got this new microphone for this first interview, and like my hands are going like just right about to knock it out. But no, in the just to put the Meisner technique is to put your imagination in a way to point it in the direction of the things that, when you have reflected on yourself, right, that these are the things that this is the thing that would make me sad, this is the thing that would make me angry. And it can't just be that thing, but like you know how to work toward a recreation of the emotion by an imaginary circumstance, right? So
Yeah,
the
definitely.
idea of knowing the things that made you a prick, you know, the things that made you frustrating to be with was actually kind of important to your work.
Yeah, yeah. I read a really interesting tweet from Kenyatta, a really good friend of mine, Kenyatta O'Neill,
Hmm.
who said that, oh Lord, he he said that uh, your mental health journey and your artistic journey are one and the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's
And yeah, go ahead.
no.
I just sorry, you're right. That
You,
resonated with me.
here's Alex. Here's the thing. Whenever we all talk at once, you get to keep going. Mitch and I will shut up. You're the
I
interviewer.
love that power. Oh God, I
This is
want
just for this.
more.
This is just for this.
Well, just to be sure, just to be fair, I'm the one editing here, so I have all the power.
Oh no.
I just sound like a bunch of words like hodgepodge together. That's like, I smell bad.
It's just gonna be like I love Mitch, like, but like all misplaced the whole time.
Hi.
Like, yeah, it's like Mitch sure is great, and John and Alex are ugly.
Yikes. Yikes. But
Yeah,
wait, Alex,
fuck you,
you were
Mitch. I'm
talking
just
about that tweet about your artistic journey and your emotional journey. Are
Mental.
one in the same?
yeah, mental health journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so two, going through the American theater educational system, you're very much conditioned to believe as an actor that like the best acting comes from a place of pain
Mhm.
and comes from a place of hurt. And I believe it's because it's not something that society deems acceptable to express, like in social settings. I can't, like, I don't know. You're not supposed to go up to somebody at a party and start chewing them out. That's just not,
Unless they
that's
really
like,
deserve
unless they really deserve it, then you go,
it.
girlfriend. But if that's not the case, like, I don't know, society frowns upon that outward expression of pain, which is why we lock it away and why we turn to drugs and why we turn to alcohol and why we don't go to therapy and all this shit.
And a
And I
lot
just
of
think,
toxic
yeah,
masculinity is through, right, the lack of being able to express
yeah,
sad, angry,
it's
the quote unquote bad emotions.
right, right. And
Oh no, keep going.
Alex, it's the rule.
It's the rule.
oh, I know it's the rule. I guess I'm a little perplexed as to why you would break it, Mitch.
Ooh. Yeah, honestly, I'm upset at him too. This might be a one-man show after this. Alex, do you want to be in my tube?
Ah! I would be delighted.
Yes!
No, but I think
You're out.
I think that yeah, like I think as an actor we're taught that, and that's just not the case. I mean, the worst acting that I've seen has come from a place where they think they're being honest and they're just being aggressive. So what I've learned, and this goes back to that tweet, is that the more you work on your mental health and the more you have empathy for self and therefore are able to have empathy for others, that your work will accrue a heartbeat. Your work will accrue like a real honest heartbeat, and it'll come from a caring place, and that's what's compelling.
Yeah.
What I'm compelled by, at least, is watching people give a shit about each other.
Well, right, because I mean, also, right, 90% of theater, I mean, even with Shakespeare, is multiple people talking to each other. You're not talking to the audience, right? Like you're talking to that other person. So the most important thing, right, is compassion and Empathy and sympathy. Yeah, absolutely. So get good at those, right? That's the key
Yeah.
from Alex. Professional, aspiring actors, get good at empathy, get good at sympathy, get good at your mental health.
Yeah.
That's
See,
good.
that's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Work on yourself.
Yeah. Work on yourself.
That's really interesting to me because I feel like from my personal experience, I feel like some of my best performances have come from periods of time when I think I was very unsure of myself mentally. I think it helps serve a purpose, and I think I was telling the story correctly. But I feel like my insecurity and uncertainty really fueled my drive in those performances. So how would you say, what would you think about that, like in terms of that philosophy?
You got something?
Oh, well, it's certainly done the same.
Go for it.
Do I have something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know. I feel that. I've been there.
Yeah.
It's again, it's like it's the whole acting is pain thing, like you're not giving a good performance unless you're actively hurting yourself. Either that's, you like actually hurting yourself on stage, or just putting yourself through the anguish of not knowing whether or not, like, my choices are competent, or will people like this, or this needs to be good, or this needs to be aggressive or brutal or whatever. So I get it. I totally get it, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you being more artistically competent than you were before, because you've grown as an artist, Mitch, do you think that you could do those certain performances now as well, at least as well as that time, with just, your knowledge of the art craft? Or do you think that
Oh yeah, I totally.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's now, like, I think there's a lot of muscle memory involved with, like, it's weird. Like, I feel like sometimes my emotional choices with things are like muscle memory in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know how to get myself to that point to emote what I need to emote in this scene or this song or stuff like that. So I would agree. Yeah, I definitely think, to piggyback off that, I think years ago, when I was emotionally not as mature because of whatever things were happening in my life, I think I just captured like lightning in a bottle. But now that I'm in a much better mental health place now, I feel like I could just flip it for sure.
Mm.
That's interesting.
I mean, and if like being self-conscious is like part of the character's decision, as it was like maybe your decision, your not decision, but like your way of building it, maybe like that's something, like if you ever do the role again, you like think about what it's like to be a self-conscious person, like, and maybe that informs the work the second time around. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So Alex, do you, for another self-care stuff, do you ever like watch stuff or things like that? Because the listeners might not know, I had the privilege to live with Alex for a couple of years, and so I was able to pick up on some hobbies of yours.
Yeah.
Mainly, you love horror movies and you love WWE.
I love horror movies.
And I just want to
WWE.
know, I just want to know where those came from. Where, like, because I felt like that was, you were like the most unique and interesting person I ever met, and I just wanted to get more. I wanted to know more and more about you every day.
Oh, that's kind. I want to know more and more about you too, Mitch. I loved our 4-hour conversations in that dingy apartment. That was the light that shined through. It was. Yeah, my love of horror movies.
It was a
Was it in a basement? So no, I actually never grew up with a basement.
Wow.
Yeah, a garden apartment that had like 2 locks, period, just in the unit. So
yikes.
Bad. But anyway, yikes. So my horror love came when I was in 3rd grade. I watched Wes Craven's New Nightmare on Stars, because back then Stars. I'm so privileged. I'm talking about like my Stars subscription in 3rd grade.
Wow.
But Stars,
it's weird that you had this subscription. That it wasn't your family subscription.
Oh no, it was like my family subscription.
Oh, okay. It wasn't.
No,
like
it was great.
You're not that.
No. I wasn't allocating funds or anything to a Comic Stars subscription. But they played the same movie every day, like the same schedule of movies every day, and I think I was home from school because I like had broken both my arms in 3rd grade, so I would go in for all the time that year, and they would just like check in and see if the bones are refusing, or like there was one time where be put to sleep so they could reposition the bones and stuff. So I was always at the doctor's office and in and out of the hospital. Watch Wes Craven's New Nightmare on TV all the time. And that kind of started my love of horror movies. And that's a good genre. I think it has the potential to present ideas in a palatable way. And then programming. I started watching that shit when I was 9, and I found it on TV once, and I haven't looked back. If we want to talk about sheer storytelling of it, I think it's one of the core forms of storytelling there is, because the best stories that come out of programming are not like, foofy cartoon characters. It is better at doing this than you. So if you want to cut me, let's fight about it. You know what I mean? It's like not anything more than that. And I think storytelling is when it's completely stripped down and you just are given the basics. Is the basics. Oh, it's racist. It's sex. It's homophobic. It's transphobic. It's Islamophobic. I would be hard-pressed to find something that is acceptable that isn't from 2017 onward. But as a form of storytelling, 2017 and onward wrestling is awesome.
What a hard sell there.
There would just be days where I would come home to our apartment and Alex is watching WWE, and I would be like, this was just never something I watched as a kid. And I just was like, okay. So I would sit down and watch, and my favorite parts were, Alex, what is happening right now? Why is this beef happening right now? And he would literally describe them to me.
Are you still there, brother?
Okay. Are you good there, Alex? Alex?
Yeah, I didn't hear a word you just said.
It's all good.
We're keeping that in. Alex just lost his headphone for a quick second.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was saying that some of my favorite memories were coming home to the apartment, and you'd be watching WWE. And I would be like, I have no idea what's going on right now because I never watched this stuff. And I would ask you, well, like, what's happening right now? And you would give me the best backstory going into every match that I felt like I was living. And you were watching like old episodes of stuff. Like this is stuff from like 2003. Was it like
absolute garbage?
Was it like he doesn't like him because of this and this because he lied about this? Like catching someone up on a soap opera almost?
Oh my God, absolutely it was like that. It was like, okay, so check this out. He ran over him with a car, but he doesn't know that he got his wife pregnant. So they're going to, for the custody of the child, they're going to settle the score in the ring in a ladder match to gain the contract, which will give them custody over this child. It's like stuff like that. Like it's just, let's see how horrible and weird and outlandish their lives can get.
And this was last time on All My Children. Headlock.
Yeah,
I love it.
literally.
Well, sometimes it doesn't have to be deep to be rich. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it doesn't have to be like this like emotional, like spiritual journey to be like rich and fun and like fulfilling, you know? Sometimes it could just be fun.
Yeah,
Why not, right?
yeah, and when and like they totally, and they can't do it now because it's the COVID-19 era, but before that, seeing whatever happens in the ring with 20,000 people all like chanting the same thing, that's insane.
That's
Like,
fun. It's like a Dane
I
Cook
don't think
stand-up
I'll
from
ever.
2003. Wait, 2008.
Right.
I think he was
Right.
up to both those years, John, so you're fine.
Thanks.
In varying
Low-key.
degrees of popularity.
Very, yeah. 2003 was like an emerging, thriving Dane Cook, and 2008 is like a waning, just like raisiny Dane Cook.
Alex, if we ever meet in person, I'm gonna do my Dane Cook walks Madison Square Garden impersonation for you.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see it.
It is a sight to behold, let me
It's-
tell you.
It's weirdly like one of my best impressions, and it has nothing to do with this. It's all in my legs.
Oh, Dane Cook's style of comedy is leg work.
It's a lot of legwork. It's a lot of legwork and like him leaning over like his seat for some reason.
Yeah, yes.
A lot. Why?
Hey, I don't know if you know this, but it's always starting
That's
with
pretty
something
good.
like that.
Oh,
He
shit,
took
pretty good. If we had
he-
your top and my legs, we'd be like the next thing. The next big thing.
We'd be a full Dane Cook.
he made being aggressive funny in a weird way.
Yeah.
What's that?
He made being aggressive funny in like a really weird way.
I don't
Yeah.
know if funny's. I don't know if funny's the right word for it, but he made aggressive popular.
That's true. I mean, I will say I think I was a fan of him when I was younger.
Right, but when you're in high school, you're allowed to like things that are wrong. I think.
That's
no offense to anyone who likes him. I guess it's fine. It's fine. I'm not gonna.
Now we're gonna add Dane Cook to the list of enemies to this podcast.
We needed one big beef, and we finally found it.
I think if you're gonna have a beef, like Dane Cook is probably like a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's probably safe to have a beef with Dane Cook, and also it's only gonna help you.
If we have a beef against Dane Cook, two things will happen, right? We'll get like some attention for like talking shit about Dane Cook, which we will do. Mind you, we will do. And also everyone will be on our side, because who's going to be on Dane Cook's side?
Nobody, because Dane Cook, I think it's safe to say Dane Cook's trash at this point, right?
Yes. Let's get back to mental health. Yes.
With that in mind.
No, this has been great. This has been an absolute great talk, but I think we're going to wrap it. Awesome.
Sure.
Thank you so much for being here, Alex.
It was my pleasure.
I felt we really needed to go out on the Dane Cook note.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
But yes, I will also make my sentiments. Thank you so much for coming on, being our first ever guest. Hopefully we'll be doing this long enough. Maybe you can come back on, because you're a super interesting person and we love talking to you.
Absolutely.
Oh, thanks. Well, we can reminisce about the old days when we had the first show. It'll be a clip show. It'll just be a clip show of our first show.
With just like some like really beautiful sentimental music playing behind. In the arms of angels.
Do you remember the time we talked shit about Dane Cook, and then like it flashes back to all of us, and we're all just like, yeah, fuck Dane Cook. Fuck it, right? Like, fuck it.
Right.
This is gonna be our launch to stardom. Is gonna be Dane Cook hate.
We're going to be riding the coattails of Dane Cook's heat.
Because he's so hot right now. I feel like no one knows who we are, and Dane Cook was a star, but I still feel like I'm punching down for some reason.
Right. You get it. You get it.
I'm still punching down.
That's fun.
That was a bunch of fun.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. You know what I'm really actually excited for is when the video comes out of this one, or tomorrow I'm releasing some highlights for the video for promotional stuff. Is for people to see his hair change.
Oh yeah.
Hair up, hair down. He's just got this beautiful mane of hair.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like
it's
long,
lovely,
majestic.
Yeah.
It looks good.
He looks like a lion.
It looks good in a pony. It looks good in a bun.
Yeah. He just looks good.
I just got hair envy. Which isn't hard for me, if you can tell.
Yeah. Mitch is bald. It's for the listeners, Mitch. It's for the listeners. They have to know the truth. For all of our French listeners out there.
Can I tell you something that's been grinding my gears lately?
Sure.
To quote Family Guy. I don't know why I just said that phrase.
I wish you didn't.
You know what's been really bugabooing me?
What?
Is that better?
What's bothering you, Mitch?
People being upset that the All-Star game is being moved for baseball.
People are upset that it's being moved?
Yeah.
It's being moved from Georgia.
From Atlanta, yes.
Right. Because of the voter laws that are changing, that are restricting access to certain things. And the MLB said, no.
Correct. They like, and you know what's funny? It bugs me because people are saying, well, I guess I'm not going to watch baseball. So they're cancel culturing cancel culture.
Right. But wait, why are they upset at the, I guess I just don't understand, because there is a difference, right, between the QAnon Republicans who like are ready to like believe any single thing that any Republican says ever, right? Like these people who are like, you know, all Democrats are like pedophiles and whatever. This is QAnon, not me. And then Matt Gaetz stuff comes out and they're like, whoa, hold your horses. Let's believe this man, you know? So I understand why they would be like, no, restricting votes is good because, you know, the election was stolen or whatever. It wasn't. But there's also, you know, there are plenty of Republicans who voted for Donald Trump and plenty of Republicans who didn't vote for Donald Trump who don't subscribe to all that ridiculous QAnon stuff. They just subscribe to maybe some other ridiculous stuff. Yeah, I'm calling you out.
It just.
Why are you upset? Why are people upset?
It bugs me because one, it's the All-Star game, a game that doesn't count. Two, it's baseball, which is already a sport that people don't watch.
I watched last night. I watched the White Sox last night. It was a killer.
I did too, but like
close.
My point being though is baseball has an issue with reaching out to younger generations.
Right.
And here they go and make a move that actually
might
help them in that pursuing them. And it's just like, well, I'm not going to watch baseball anymore. Okay.
Who cares, man? Honestly, who cares? Did the NFL really suffer from, uh the men, the gentlemen who kneeled during the national anthem? Did they suffer? And I'm saying gentlemen because of everyone who did it after. I'm not scared of saying Colin Kaepernick's thing, but like, because so many people were saying that they weren't going to watch the NFL because they were allowing people to kneel.
But you know what
really happened?
But you know what, though? They still watch it because they know as well as anybody that the NFL blacklisted Colin Kaepernick from the league.
Yes, they did. Despite every single thing that they say, it's absolutely true.
If you're a Bears fan and you've seen the round of clowns that come through and play quarterback, and you can't say, you're telling me Colin Kaepernick's not better than any of these fools?
Yikes, man. Yeah, yeah.
It's not a talent problem.
It's a huge bummer.
It's not a talent problem. It's a something else problem that I don't really want to say on this podcast.
It's a race problem. I'll say it. Is it racism?
Said it.
Is it racism? Oh, okay. Oh, racism. Damn. I thought we got over racism. There's no it's just here's where I come from with all this stuff. It's like we have so many problems in the world, right? And if someone is voicing their opinion, trying to make a stand for what they believe to be a problem around the country and in the United States, and it's very clear what the problem is, right? Kneeling, it wasn't about the troops, it was about racism. Mm-hmm. And over and over and over again, you decide to like sidestep what they are talking about just because you want to make a political point. You just over and over and over again are proving that you don't want to talk about it. Not that they're doing anything wrong, and not that, the problem doesn't exist. All you're doing is proving that you don't want to talk about it. You are not invested in solving it, which means in terms of racism, right, where we all have our hand to play, right? Like white men and women, and everyone who benefits from racism, whether they subscribe to it or not, right? Like whether they believe in like that they're racist or not, you kind of are, not because of your beliefs, but because of how society is set up to benefit you.
Right.
So if you are not interested in talking about solving racism, then you're even worse because you're not even doing the bare minimum to help.
Right.
If you're not interested in listening and you are the benefactors of racism, mm-hmm. then you actually turn into, not just the people who benefit, you turn into the reason why it's getting worse or why it's not getting better, which actually makes you really racist. Bummer. You want to stop talking about racism, then start listening and start solving. I don't know.
It's just listening.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that at its core
that's step
one of the simplest things you can do to start understanding?
No, well, apparently not. Who knows, man? Who knows? But
anyways,
what can you do?
You guys know the deal. Hit subscribe. Leave us a comment. leave us an email, twopersonechochamber@gmail.com. It's all
Email.
spelled out. Don't put the letter, don't put the number 2.
Mm-mm.
Spell it out, TWO.
Do your part. Spell it out.
Do your part. Do your part. Spell it out. I like that. I like that. We're gonna
Mitch,
keep this up. What?
I can't wait to do cigars with you.
Dude, I can't wait to do it either. You're moving to New York pretty soon here.
Yeah.
Soon these podcasts will still be on Zoom, but you'll be in a different time zone.
Oh, that's gonna get really confusing with scheduling. Let's just quit.
Well, guess what, guys? We're not. So stay tuned.
Man, you tricked me.
Stay tuned for next week.
Yeah, stay tuned. Yeah, next week's a good one. Next week's a really good one. You know which one was a bad one?
Which one was a bad one?
None of them. They're all good. Listen.
Whoa!
Subscribe. All
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.